Hello viewers, I'm Rohit Khurana, your host on Intellect Digest. Are you scared of your phone getting into water or getting damaged with water? Not anymore. We have the Sony Xperia Z1 with us and it can go underwater and still continue to work. The Sony Xperia Z1 is the next generation device after the Sony Xperia Z. The Z1 is further improved, comes with a more mightier camera and is totally water resistant and dust resistant. It can work underwater as well. You can do video recording, you can take pictures while you are underwater. It will not be spoiled if you accidentally throw it into water. So if you have kids around or if you are worried that they will wet the phone or throw it in water, there is Sony Xperia Z, the Xperia Z1 and the Samsung Galaxy S4 Active, which is totally water resistant. We'll start with the build quality review of the Sony Xperia Z1, which actually makes it water resistant. The shell of this phone is totally enclosed and water resistant. All the ports etc. are covered under water resistant flaps. If you see these flaps closely, you will see there are rubber seals which cover these flaps. This is a SIM card tray in which you can place your micro SIM and put it inside the phone. So on the right hand side you have your micro SIM card tray. Below the micro SIM tray you have a power or wake up key, which is very nicely finished in metal and looks really nice. Just below it you have a volume rocker key and here you have a dedicated camera shutter key. On the bottom you have speaker mesh. Again, this is totally waterproof. On the left hand side you have some docking connectors provided here. There is a micro SD card slot under the rubber seal flap and there is a micro USB port for charging as well as data syncing. This is also covered with a rubber sealed flap which gives it the water resistance which is required. Interestingly, there is no flap on the 3.5mm standard audio jack. It is sealed from the inside, so it does not allow any water to seep in. On the back you have a G sensor camera with 20.7 megapixels with autofocus. There is LED flash just next to it. There is NFC branding over here, Sony branding in the middle and Xperia branding at the bottom. The back is glossy and in black. You get a couple of colors like purple, black, white, etc. You can also customize the user interface. When it comes to user interface, you don't find anything very different over here. There is a front facing camera on the top. On the front there is a 5-inch display with full high definition and it gives you a pixel per inch density of 441. The menu button, back button and the multitasking button are integrated within the display. There are no buttons on the bezel of the phone. This phone seems slightly tall because the bezels at the top as well as bottom are slightly wide. Talking of the display, it is powered by the X-Reality engine from Sony, which gives nice color response. I'll quickly play some games to show you how well it renders the games and how well it gives the graphics. Then we'll quickly show you some benchmark scores so that you can compare it. We'll play few games including the Modern Combat 4, Frontline Commando and Dead Trigger. Let's start with the Modern Combat 4, which is a heavy and demanding game. This is a shooter game which requires touch coordination as well as motion coordination. I'll turn the volume to maximum so that you can get a sense of how loud the gameplay music actually is. We can spot some enemies and we can kill them very easily. As you can see, there is no lag when it comes to graphics. It is rendering very smooth and very well when it comes to graphics on this Xperia Z1. So even for heavy games like the Modern Combat 4, you don't find any sort of troubles. So this phone is fairly loaded when it comes to gaming. Let us play the Frontline Commando and show you how the graphics render here. Although this is a lighter game compared to the Modern Combat 4, but let me just give you a gaming experience here as well. and we complete our mission. Let me also show you some dead trigger action on the Sony Xperia Z1 so that you can see how the graphics render on this game. One thing that I find a little annoying is that the speakers are placed here, so when I hold it like this, they get muffled so easily. But you can get used to it. You can just hold it like this, leaving some place here. And as you can see, the graphics rendering is very smooth here. You can literally see these zombies running towards your face right in front of you. And here we complete this mission. When it comes to benchmarks, this phone is not behind any other leading smartphone. It gives an impressive score of 34,339 on Antutu and uses the Snapdragon 800 latest chipset with 2.2 GHz. Great processor, which is a quad-core processor, runs Android Jelly Bean 4.2 right out of the box. And to support heavy graphic games, there is Adreno 330 GPU, which gives it the kind of performance that it has. It has 16 GB of internal memory, out of which 10 to 11 GB is available to the user, and you can expand the memory by adding a micro SD card. So when it comes to specification, gaming, touchscreen response and the color quality, this phone comes fairly loaded. Let's talk about the camera. Camera is one strong point. There is a dedicated camera key. We just long press it and we enter the camera application. We can just long press and take a picture. There are many interesting features inside this camera. So you have many built-in functionalities when you click on this icon right here, which gives you some extra like superior auto, manual mode, time shift burst, picture perfect, panorama, AR effects, info eye and social live. Select any of these. So in manual mode, I have a lot of controls like the aperture control, the flash control, and I can select the ISO, I can select the scene modes, etc. to actually change it the way I want to use it. So let me just go back to the modes and I'll show you one very interesting mode which is called time shift burst. Say you have a moving object. In this case, I'll just move my camera while keeping the shutter key pressed, and it will capture multiple shots. And when it captures multiple shots, you can select from these shots and select which one you want to keep. So you can just scroll like this. It takes up to 30 shots within a burst and you can select which one. The pictures come out to be sharp and the resolution is very good, and how well we can zoom in, and it gives good results. The camera on the Sony Xperia Z1 is actually very powerful and has a very nice sensor. It can take good pictures in low light conditions. When it comes to video playback quality, the 1080p display here does a good job. It shows you crisp and nice videos. Play a video from our channel.
From Intellect Digest. Today I'm going to give you some quick tips and tricks of the Samsung, which has very powerful specs as well as the performance. The display is very large. Today
the speaker placement is interesting. It is at the bottom, which is good. It does not muffle. So if you put it flat on the surface, it does not muffle and the sound is fairly loud and clear. So is the display in the video playback. Talking of the audio playback, these speakers are fairly loud. We did not get the supplied earphones with the test unit that we have got here, so I cannot really comment on the earphones which are provided. When it comes to battery, Sony has improved the battery capacity with the Z1. The Z1 comes with a 3000 mAh battery, which will give you longer battery life compared to an Xperia Z, and it does last one full day on moderate to heavy usage. One thing I really appreciate about this phone is that it comes with FM radio. I really like that feature and I really like listening to radio. Most high-end smartphones miss out on this feature, but Sony Xperia Z1 comes with an FM radio application inbuilt. Apart from being high performance and waterproof, Sony Xperia Z1 also supports on-the-go cable or the OTG cable in both USB storage format as well as USB host format. You just need to open the flap which has the USB port, and once you have the access, just plug an OTG cable and to the other end of the cable you can plug a standard USB pen drive and USB storage connected. Notification pops up, after which you can easily access the USB storage. You can just go to the file commander and select the external USB storage from here, and you can access the files like the video, music as well as pictures on the external storage. So you do not actually need to transfer movies to your phone to watch it. You can just watch it off a USB cable as well. Apart from this, it also connects to standard USB wireless mouse as well as wireless keyboards using a standard USB dongle. So I have a USB dongle here which connects to the wireless keyboard and mouse. I can also use a standard size keyboard with it. So I'll just go to messaging, create a new message, go to compose, put it in the landscape and use a standard size keyboard to type on it. So this is how simple it is to use this device with an external keyboard and mouse, and you can use this with the office suits, productivity suits, and use it for general computing as well as internet browsing. You can connect any wireless keyboard and mouse with the Sony Xperia Z1 and use it for general computing purposes. Summarizing our review of the Sony Xperia Z1, this phone takes the legacy of Sony Xperia Z to another level with larger battery, improved performance, a better camera and nicely fresh looking interface in the familiar design of the Sony Xperia Z. It also takes forward the dust resistance and the water resistance, which makes it a kind of unique proposition that you can get on a smartphone. This is all we have for you on this detailed review video of the Sony Xperia Z1. We hope you like this video. Please don't forget to press the like button below for more interesting and informative videos. Stay subscribed by pressing the subscribe button below. This is your host Rohit Khurana signing off. Thanks for watching.